Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. Jason Novak is a climber. That is, he clambers up utility poles as a lineman for Ameren Illinois, and the job often has him scooting speedily up to the tippy tops of poles that stand about 40 feet high. But Jason's advanced skills in ascending also have made him a force in competition. Earlier this month, he joined line workers from across the country competing in the International Lineman's Rodeo in Kansas. And Jason Novak is with us now. Jason, welcome to St. Louis on the Air.
Oh, thank you for having me on here today.
So, Jason, start us off with a basic job description. What is an electrical line worker?
So we restore your power during the storms. Day to day, we're changing poles, fixing trouble on the line. We climb poles. We work out of bucket trucks. We also dig up underground utilities. Quite a variety of work.
And that variety, I mean, it really does change day to day, doesn't it?
It does. We have a general job plan at the start of the week of jobs that we're going to do, but obviously emergency work comes first. So there's quite a few times we don't get to it all.
Okay. And over the last year, I heard that it's been very busy for you.
Oh, storms have been unreal. And same with trees and just cars hitting poles. There's everything. Something's always going on.
Mm-hmm. And how have you dealt with that stress? Is the climbing that we're going to talk about part of that?
There's not really stress. It's part of the job that you sign up for. You know it. And the family, they're very gracious and help me with that.
Yeah.
So they're understanding whenever you miss functions.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the Lineman Rodeo. What is the Lineman Rodeo, and what about this international part of the title?
Okay, well, the International Lineman's Rodeo, it's truly like the Super Bowl of lineman rodeos, and it is international. They had a team from Brazil, from Jamaica, Canada comes to that. This year was a record year, 292 teams, 430 apprentices.
Wow.
The teams are made up of 3 men. You have 2 climbers and a groundman. 2 events are known. One is a hurt man rescue, where you go up and rescue a 185-pound mannequin off the pole. And that's something that we qualify for yearly, too, just in case a coworker would become injured. We know how to rescue them off the pole because we're truly the only ones that can do that. And another one is just a speed event. It's speed and safety. You know, you're doing everything safe, but you're also trying to go as quick as you can, but you're climbing with an egg in a bucket. So you're trying not to break that egg. And then when you get to the top, you would swap buckets out, put the egg in your mouth, and get down as quick and as safely as you can.
Okay.
The other 2 events are unknown until the day prior, and they're more geared towards what you would actually do in the field. So you get a game plan and you perform that plan.
Okay. And over the years, have you noticed that the mystery events sort of follow a certain trend, or is it really just a surprise when it happens?
It's truly a surprise. You know, I've been doing this for 30 years, 22 times competing at the International. You never know what you're going to expect until that day.
Right. Now, you've mentioned the word quick. How fast, Jason, is fast in pole climbing?
It depends. So what they used to be called the speed climb, now it's called the egg climb. They change it up. So now there's obstacles you have to transfer over where before you didn't have to in the past. But generally speaking, a fast one today is around that 40-second mark. Anything around there is pretty quick.
And how tall are the poles that you're climbing?
They're 40 foot tall.
So 40 feet, okay. So you've been to different competitions, you've mentioned, over the years, and because it is international, does that mean that these competitions take place in other places outside the country?
Yes, they do have some. In fact, there was a group from New Zealand this year. They have a rodeo that spans over a few days, and they were there just trying to get some ideas for their rodeo. I've never been to it. Would love to go, but that's quite a trip.
Yeah. So in this year's rodeo, you took second place in the Journeyman's Climb, and that was with a time of 1 minute and 25 seconds. Do you have a climbing strategy, Jason?
Yeah, so that time was a combined time of myself and my other climber. So he ran a 40 and I ran a 44. We were clean, and that's the thing, is you have to be clean, no deductions first, and then it goes by time. We lost first place by just a couple seconds, but that's just part of it. But yeah, the main thing is to do it safely, do it clean, but do it as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm. And was there some particular way that you and your partner practiced in order to get to top competition condition?
Yes, we do have a little bit of practice time on the company, and we're gracious for that, but we do a lot of practicing on our own, trying to get in good physical condition. And there's a lot of things that we work on just as far as transferring, getting on the pole, the bag exchange, not particularly just the climbing part, but there's other aspects to that too.
Such as?
Just those parts. So, breaking it down time-wise to how we can get each step a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm. And so would that be how you'll practice for next year to improve your time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll build on what we learned this year. We may come up with a couple different ideas on how we particularly transfer over an object and try those. And if they work, then we'll build upon those. And if they don't, we go back to where we were and try to make that faster.
Mm-hmm. We're speaking today with Jason Novak, who is an electrical lineman with Ameren, Illinois. He competed in the International Lineman's Rodeo earlier this month. Jason, tell us what the day of competition is like. You mentioned eggs. I don't know if eggs are part of what you would eat beforehand, but is there like a special diet? Do you do carbs, or is there a ritual that you have before the climb?
No. Generally, we get up very early that morning. The opening ceremonies start about 7 o'clock, and they do the national anthem, go through the different national anthems that are there. Usually very light breakfast, just nerves are up and everything else, so you don't want to get too full before you go climbing poles. But and then the day you're standing in line quite a bit, so just trying to stay loose through that process and stretching, and you don't want to pull any muscles or anything like that while you're climbing. So and then usually you're done around 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon by the time you do all your events. So it's quite a taxing day.
Yeah. Does that mean that there are also many spectators there?
Yes, there's a very large crowd. It's very family oriented, so a lot of kids running around watching, and it's great because your family, you go home, you talk to them, tell them what you do at work, and here they actually get to see it.
Right. Now, we've used the term lineman and line worker. Are there also women who compete in this competition?
There are. There's not a lot, but there's getting to be a few more here and there, and it's great to see, and they do pretty well. So they put a lot of effort into it, and, effort pays off.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of paying off, 3 years ago, you added a charity campaign to the competition called Climbin' for Kids. How is it, Jason, that you went from starting this 3 years back and raising $5,500 to this year when you managed to raise more than $100,000?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Really appreciate it. No, it's really been great. The vendors have helped with donating items that we've been able to raffle off, and it's just been so well received through the line community. It's such a great cause. 100% of the proceeds go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So all of our work, and I've had a ton of people helping. I just like to take a second to thank all of them. I wish I could thank them personally, but just everyone that's helped, from raising funds to getting with vendors to donate the items to the people that actually are contributing. It's been amazing, just quite an experience.
Yeah. And what was it that got you thinking that you should add this element to the climbing that you were already doing?
So it was my 20th time competing at the International Rodeo. I just wanted to do something a little different instead of just going out there and competing. So I got with my teammates and asked them, if they minded doing something for charity. Of course, they were on board. And when I was at church, somebody was giving testimony on how St. Jude's had helped them, and I thought, that's it. That's a great cause right there. Let's see what we can do. Mm-hmm. And it's just grown and grown from there.
Yeah. So I did see some pictures, and in it, there's sort of that standard huge check photo that is very much part of the experience of giving funds to the beneficiary of the effort. What was that like for you, and who went with you to that ceremony?
It was a great experience. So Dave Ochoa, he's a director out of Memphis for St. Jude's. He was up there. We actually got to present the check to him. Paul Kaler and his family, my family, and also Craig Gilson, his wife, who's an Ameren director, and then one of the large contributors. They won the silent auction now, so from PG&E, they got to Sid Silva. He got to help present the check also. But it's just amazing being able to stand up there and thank everyone in a roundabout way for their efforts, because the crowd there was 5,000 people there at the banquet that night.
Wow.
And they were so generous through that whole process and donating. So they got to see their efforts rewarded too.
Mm-hmm. And there will be some other event that is connected to this donation, if I'm understanding?
So we did get some companies that are on board with us next year for helping to raise funds. Some are wanting to do like golf outings, ski shoes, stuff like that, and they're going to help us raise money for Climbing for Kids for St. Jude's also. So we're really looking forward to getting involved with them and spreading the word.
Yeah. So Jason, you've competed at the International Lineman Rodeo, as you mentioned earlier, 22 times over the last 30 years. And you are at 53. What is it that keeps you coming back?
A lot of it is, a lot of the friends I've made over the years, this is the only time I get to see them out there. So I'll shake their hand, give them a big hug, catch up quite a bit, in the few minutes that I have with them. But the competition keeps my skills honed. We still do climb a lot of poles. We have a lot of stuff back in backyards and in right-of-ways that you just can't access with bucket trucks. So learning how to use the new equipment, the fall restraints and all that, this competitions have really helped me develop those skills.
Yeah.
And I'll keep doing it as long as I can.
And is there any advice that you have for linemen who are listening to this, or maybe, are married to a line worker, to encourage them to get started with the rodeo?
If you ever thought about it, try it. That's all I can say, really, because there's a lot of guys that are like, man, I wish I'd have done that when I was younger. So if you're young, definitely do it.
Yeah.
Do it now while you're still young, but it's never too late either. They have senior divisions that you can get into too, but it's just a lot of fun. You go out there and you have a good time.
Yeah. So the last question, in the spirit of sort of friendly competition, do the younger line workers have any chance of catching up to you, Jason?
There's good days and bad days, definitely. I'm not as fast as I once was, but I still try to hold on to it as long as I can and try to improve my skills. So absolutely, everybody's got a chance out there. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of great teams and apprentices coming up through Ameren, and they actually perform very well. This is probably their best showing Ameren's ever had out there. If you hit the stage once, it's great, but Ameren hit the stage 8 times, had the teams in the top 10. Actually, one placed 5th overall, which is pretty amazing. So, yeah, the future is very bright.
Jason Novak is an electrical lineman with Ameren Illinois. He competed in the International Lineman's Rodeo earlier this month. Jason, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you for having me on here. I greatly appreciate it.
This episode was produced by Danny Wissentowski.
Audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dorr.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
St. Louis on the Air proudly supports local artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.